6-0, 6-1, something like that. But either way, this dude, the thing that you got to know about Hakayo is, interesting about Japan is how Tekken has kind of evolved in terms of regional battles. Over the course of Tekken 5, 5DR, 6-6BR, Tag 2 to 7, there's been a shift in the power balance. West Coast Japan is not nearly as strong as they used to be. However, Hakayo is definitely one of the West Coast Japan representatives that is still kind of holding that region on the map. Yeah.
Hell no. You got a West Japan, Fukuoka, that whole region, definitely stronger than Tokyo.
Oh, no, you're talking about Kyushu. Kyushu is separate from
West
from
Japan.
Osaka. Yeah,
all right, you're talking, all right.
Osaka, it's really just Hakayo, Kare, Yojin Boy, and also maybe a few others. A lot of their leadership fell off, and that's something that's been a talking point.
They lost
about
their man Tishima.
Yeah,
bounced. He bounced.
Not just him, yeah, a few other legends, but from New Zealand, Dan Banter, right, playing Claudio. He's had some good success on Tekken World Tour this year. Currently ranked in the top 40. Yeah, he won the online event just like last month, right?
But
for New Zealand.
I saw the Japanese tweets. Apparently, these two have met and they have trained together offline.
Oh, okay,
at a gaming bar. I think Hakayo might have been in New Zealand, or the New Zealand guy might have been up in Japan.
The latter is probably more likely.
They have a history together.
Yeah, because the thing about Hakayo is this, right? This is definitely one of Japan's top players, right?
I feel like he shouldn't be allowed to play King.
Well, yeah, that's a different topic.
He's too strong.
But the big thing about this guy is Tekken 7 Vanilla had a lot of success. But once the update comes out, he kind of goes into a sophomore slump, so to speak, right? He didn't really break out of that until this year. He started having a lot more success recently. Obviously, acquired the pro license, got that win in Tokyo Game Show, got himself some prize money. Recently had a kid, is a family man.
Oh, yeah, we got a little bit of technical difficulties right here. Are they going to let it rip, or are they going to restart it?
So, of course, yeah, something we haven't mentioned about this event is the $6,000 prize pool.
Whoa,
right?
What? Word?
There is some money up for grabs here. So for Hakayo, obviously family man now, going to be an important point for him to be able to bring home that diaper money.
That'll cover like a week, man. You split that. Get a week of diapers here. Anyway, first round.
King
so
versus
Hakayo,
Jack.
of course, is going to be running King the whole time. Don Banter's got a whole collection of characters.
Yeah, Claudio, Jack, he plays like multiple characters.
Runs Akuma as well. I think he said about 5 characters. Nice launch first round. Going to New Zealand. Man, they got some weird-ass abbreviations. How is NEL New Zealand?
Full Nelson, whatever that is.
I don't know.
Low parry.
Yeah, on that
Hakayo now going to take him to the wall. And the thing about Hakayo is, too, right, he traveled to EVO, had a disappointing performance there, but EVO Japan got finished just outside top 8. Again, disappointment on big stages. Hasn't been able to get the big wins, right, the big performances. But these safe style gameplay, right? We're used to seeing Kings just go ham, right?
Yeah, Jack took some hits. He got a little bit nervous, but still quite a strong character. Oh, okay.
Giant swing.
He's going to hit the sidewall here? Be able to roll. Got the sidewall. Guaranteed damage there. Oh, my God. Just wake up.
Are you serious?
Just wake up. So there's no respect. Good round. Good 2-round start here for Don.
My man, that's Dan, man. Why they got the O there?
Banter, New Zealand. Another giant swing and no tech.
So he's putting the giant swing into his head, right?
And no tech on the ground, too. What's going on? Has he ever fought King before?
Yeah, well, you got to be able to tech that on the ground, man, at this level. There you go. Big swing here, counter hit.
Yeah.
Probably going to get the wall as well. Not even necessary.
Yeah, power bomb. Murder him right there. Perfect, but New Zealand still with the advantage here. 2 against 1 in the first game. If you're just joining us, if you missed the earlier sets, it's not traditional tournament format. It's a 1-to-4. And we saw in the last set, right? We saw how the players changed.
There was definitely a lot of back and forth.
Up and down, yep.
That's what's fun about it, though, man.
Nice stuff. Yeah,
backing up.
I want some good tech. That's all I want.
Pulling Sabat. Dan Banter got to be able to sidestep right. Show a lot more sidestep against King.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here's where it starts. Give me that leg. Where you going with it?
Okay, get off.
No,
still took a bit of damage here. Coming jackhammers. Oh, no. Running knee, and now Hakayo 1 hit away, and there it is. Tying it up.
Damage from that 4.
2-2 right here.
Yeah, that's the thing. This guy, Hakayo, known for kind of tournament jitters, right? Got to be able to get over that on this kind of big stage here.
Okay,
block and punish.
Scissors, yeah. Gets the crumple. Running powerbomb, bring him to the wall. No, actually guts the wall. Backing away. He's got position right now.
Going for the shoulder shove, looking for a counter hit.
Good dick punch. Nice interrupt here. Finally a break on a giant swing.
But now that's going to put it in his head, right? Down 4-1 to chop him up in the mid-range. Hakayo up 1 game.
Yeah, good adjustment there. He was down 2 rounds, just ran it all the way back. That might have been the chance.
So like you were saying, right, this is a 1-to-4 set. Dan Banter has a repertoire, a stable of characters to be able to use. probably
going this time.
Not
Stage
switching
select.
yet.
Yeah,
He's
stage
locked in the
select.
Jack for this game, but you have to imagine we'll see that come into play. Should he take a loss here?
He had it. He was one hit away from closing it out. The last game was kind of a blow, but he had a chance. 1 hit away. He tweeted out as well. He said, "I hope he does." He's like, "I hope I don't get nervous on the big stage here." Definitely a factor for a lot of these fighting game players who are not used to playing on stages of this scale. Okada looking reserved here. They held this match too. It was supposed to happen like 2 hours ago, but they held it. This is what they want to show the world right now.
Back it up. That's typical of Hikayo. Typically a lot more safer than what you usually see from King.
Yeah, that Asian playstyle. Damn, what an uppercut from downtown. That's why Jack is so good to be able to break the wall here. Yep, one
That's
shoulder.
the thing, man. You want to sidestep left to avoid the jackhammers, but then the down 4-2 will catch you out of that. You got to be able to play around that zone. Swinging right back at him. Gets the wall.
He was backing away. I like that. Says there's no block this time. Plants his seats.
Put that boot on him. Low parry. And now back out to center stage.
About that, even on life.
What's the Oki?
Spin nothing. What the hell? Wake up. See, play.
Hop kick in return. Gets the wall.
Yep. Got
Break that shit. Now drop him.
Not enough.
Not quite.
Not good. Yeah. Just down 4 kicks him at the end. Uh-oh. That's 4 rounds in a row right now for Hikayo.
Jab interruption. Switching sides. Now give me this. Gets the solid. Dropping that bow on him. Backing up just out of range of all these pokes.
There we go. Gets a flow. Good confirm here. Should be able to get the wall. No, didn't want to let the last hit rip right there. But he's keeping the pressure on here with the compact. Yeah, just jab, jab. Uh-oh.
Swinging once again. Yeah. That's the big thing. He gets this wall, too. This character's so scared once again. Snap that leg just to be able to seal the round.
Yeah, so far against King. Of course, not traditional grappler compared to other games, but he is, I guess, the grappler of Tekken. He's got a lot of throws.
One more time. Standing heel hold. What you got for me? Take it again.
Unable to tech any of these. It's hard, too. You have to be close. You have to be in range to land a grab anyway. Usually Jack very good at keeping characters out, but Hikayo just getting in. Go in.
Yeah, just approaching safely that range where he's able to get in range after a crouch dash. We'll be able to go in for a grab on a whiff.
Another grab wall.
Rattle and shake.
Yep.
Throw on the wall, and that's going to do it. That's 2 games. No round
that time. Yeah, 6 rounds straight. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The streak, is it going to continue? I don't know. We've had a lot of blowouts so far. Last set was very good between
competitive set, right? Yeah,
Finland and Saudi Arabia. I heard stage select, so it looks like Dan from New Zealand sticking with Jack.
That confident in his Jack.
It might be too late though, right? If you're good, I think if you're down 2 in a first to 4, if you have another character you're thinking about now, you have to do it now.
If you have the intention of using your roster, you have to be able to pull it out at this point, right?
Now, you don't wait until you're down 3. So I think he might be sticking all in there with Jack. Let's see.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Even if you're down 3 and you win that, well, you're locked in at that point.
Yeah, you're locked in. That's why. All right, jungle outpost here. Block on the low poke here from Hikayo, unable to punish him.
Gets the counter hit swing.
Run up, drop.
Take his reward here. Now what's the Oki? Taking the down 4-4s.
Yeah, just kicks him, sidesteps a little bit, trying to keep that position here with Jack with his back to the wall. Going for the push now, trying to grab his chest. Good duck as well. There we go. Counter hit gets guaranteed.
And takes the wall too. Cracking that leg now. On the ground, Dan Panther, no whip punish.
Crushes. What is that? Back 4. Crushes the low right there. Hikayo is on a streak. Jackhammer comes out. The elbow drop. Do it again. Why not? Another one. Uppercut from that close. Unable to get anything, and he gets punished.
I like Dan Banter backing up. Hasn't shown much sidestep yet, though.
There we go. Okay. Oh, no. He messed up the rocket kick after this. Now, finally.
Tags him with the low.
Rage mode king right there. That was dangerous. All right. Streak is broken. We got one on the board here for New Zealand. Damn. All right.
Big launch of round start here.
That's the Love Neat special, man.
To the wall.
Yeah, that one's the damage. Wants the Oki instead.
Dangerous situation, though. Hikayo swinging. Low again from Dan Banter. Unable to finish. King in rage. Got the wall too. No. Able to take the 4 there.
Yeah, nice mid kick. This is good here. This is good. It was all in the first game as well. You got to close it out. Do not let him run it back on you, though.
Hakayo now adapting, blocking low.
Oh, no.
Big swing here.
Yeah, gets the counter hit float here.
All that damage and the wall.
And
Crack his legs.
Positioning everything.
Big force, putting that boot out there. Hakayo now big advantage. Trade in favor of Dan Banter. Here you go. Pick it up. Now put him on this wall.
Stomp plus frames which way. Again,
But
they're rolling so
bad.
He's been crushing lows. He knows that Dan likes going to the low to close up the round. He's going for the crushes every time.
Hop kick it, round start. You want to duck on me? Let's go.
We haven't seen that all set. Hakayo trying to make it 3-0 right here. Dan in trouble.
That's a 50% round opener.
Oh, no. Another
One more time.
swing.
Giant swing.
Sidewall?
Just in range.
Got
it.
That was far. That might be because of Jack's hurtbox, but man, he chucked him.
Yeah, you saw it was parallel to the wall there and able to get the balcony there. Yeah, we didn't even see the balcony break come into play, but able to close it out with the giant swing there at the end, hit the wall.
Thank God we got to do the other two matches. We were scheduled to only do this match. Hakayo making a speed run out here. King, all right, Cactus select. Dan, who you gonna go with? Jin.
Okay.
Oh, another Jin, huh? Jin very different from Jack. Yeah, very different archetypes here. But again, like you said, he's going to have to win 4 games in a row against Hakayo. I don't know about that.
So the thing is, there are some kings down there in Australia and New Zealand, right? That, of course, Dan Banter is going to have the opportunity to get experience against. You said he also plays with Hakayo offline, whether he went to Japan or vice versa. But my question is like the difference in matchup experience here on a regular basis.
Yeah, we got Japan's best Jack player, Naroma, right? So that was already, I think, a shaky pick from the start. Unless you're confident, unless you're a better Jack than Naroma, I don't think you're going to surprise Hakayo. So bring out the Jin. Why not?
Right off the bat. And this walled stage, too. This is not what Dan Banter was looking for.
Wall splat. Going to get the wall grab as well.
10 seconds in, and you're already down for 60%. But here you go. Ankle breakers.
Okay, went for a grab at the time. Finally, we got a duck here from Dan. Counter hit.
Big launch here. Going to take him to the wall.
Smaller stages, yeah. Electric out of range. Another giant swing. Hit the sidewall. He's dead. Yep.
You haven't seen Hakayo switch off of that giant swing either.
Yeah, you're not taking it. Why not? Just keep going. Dan keeps pressing 1 and 2. He's like, what the hell? Why isn't it teching? What's going on? Oh, he misses the ender. Gets punished for it. Finally, Shining Wizard comes out.
He was ready with the tech,
at that time. He teched the 1+2. Hakayo's like, all right, I see what you're doing. Back to the giant swing.
Sets the mind game now, right? Hakayo knows that he's been trying to go tech with the side step.
That was
perfect
beautiful.
step.
Hammer time.
The big counter hit swing.
So can't kill now.
Take him to the wall. Not quite enough. Atlas
trade. How did he stay alive? With the 1 pixel, Hakayo.
Set point.
Surviving the toe tap, yep. Uh-oh, here's
one.
One.
Break his arm.
Don't do it. Not to New Zealand.
Oh, no.
There we go. Let him go. Let him go.
Oh, God.
Let him go. Take his visa away. All right, standing for counter hit. He gets it.
Dan Banter with the wall now. You got to show us something, Dan.
Yeah, this is match point. It's elimination point.
Yeah,
single
mid. Nice job mixing up his jab strings.
Don't get giant swung. You eat that wall damage. Oh, finally.
Dan Banter back on the board, taking a round here.
Staying alive.
You got to run 2 rounds straight to be able to stay alive here, man.
Yeah, don't worry about winning 4 games. Just worry about winning this game, right? Take it baby steps.
1 round at a time. 1 round. Break his arm.
Again. 1, 2.
Is he gonna do it?
No. Get off. Giant swing.
One more time. Back to the giant swing. Touch him to the wall.
Look at his damage. Yep.
Dan Banter in dire straits here. In rage. Side step, takes a jab string. Hakayo 4-0 over Dan Banter. Japan moving on in top 8. New Zealand out of here. As we would expect, right? I don't think... Good stuff to Dan Banter coming out here and putting a show on for the stage. But Hakayo going to be moving on in this tournament here.
Yeah, like we said, we've been saying all the time, a lot of players came out, representing their country. Unfortunately, they didn't have the best performance. Maybe 6 rounds straight. But it's about the experience. It's about meeting new people, making new friends.
It's about
practicing.
It's about what you take back to your local community, right? So New Zealand, Australia, those guys play, man. They got a lot of players down there. It'll be a good experience for Dan Metzer to be able to bring what he learned here, be able to get these casual matches, this contact time with all these other top players, and bring it back to his local community. But thanks to you guys for tuning in here to IESF_TV here on Twitch TV. This is Obama Jr. Yeah, it wasn't a quick first
go all the way to
man.
grand finals, right? So twitch.tv/TW_fighter, or is it underscore? No.
It's underscore.
So TW_fighter for the rest of Tekken. We won't be doing commentary, but tomorrow, grand finals. First to 5.
We run in sets, man.
First
we
to
run
5,
in sets. First
and
to
it's
5.
going to be the 2 best countries here, so it's definitely going to be good Tekken.
I'm excited, man.
It starts at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Right? 6 p.m. tomorrow, Taiwan time. So
that's what I'm saying, man. Give me a set. Let's go.
Tomorrow, guys. 6 p.m. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Be good.
是的，令人意犹未尽的铁拳七赛事呢，今天呢是暂时的告一个段落，明天呢他们就要来争夺冠军啦！
哇，刚刚看比赛真的是，我还是很想说4个1，好厉害、
很厉害，对不对？那接下来呢，一样我们就是刚刚说的更紧张刺激的 CS:GO 赛事马上就要开始喽。
没有错，那我们这边呢先休息一下，广告之后精彩的赛事马上回来。
2018最新报告，中华电信4G 下载速度最快，全台行动网速 No.1， 荣获国际级肯定，基地台最多，频宽最大。中华电信大4G，实在有够赞！
却有挑战世界的重量，
在场上投入的是必胜的决心，
不断向上，举起台湾的希望，
用棒球证明台湾最棒。
可乐果一起为梦想加油，台湾熊赞，咱的可乐果熊松。烈火士兵。
Perseverance makes perfect. Taiwan excellence.
士们、先生们，现在为您示范来台旅游须知。行程中，请认明全台最大台湾味体验中心。以确保您可以将独特台湾味带回家。全年福利中心祝您旅途愉快。
因为上晚班，我知道有些人吃饭总是特别晚。你好，麦当劳欢乐颂，今天又这么晚？
不晓得加班到几点。
没关系，欢乐颂24小时都有。
谢谢。
加油！我想，我送的不只是温暖的食物。
这个时候有你真好。
强棒 Start Go， 棒球题材结合 Start 玩法 ，Free Game 9宫格 ，Wild 拼大财，晋级赛事夺冠军，倍率加成 Home Run， 新城 Online。
哈达呀，不 lonely， 新城 Online 陪伴你，真人语音，生动贴图，哇，独特旅游馆，线上送礼，就高兴呗！全台最大线上游艺馆，新城 Online。
星光3月周年庆，化妆品满2000送200，全馆满5000送500，贵宾卡独享更多优惠，还有 BT21限量好礼等你来收集。
密天新职业，枪手现身，天堂 M，11月14，枪手上阵。
巡逻路线以及犯罪热区，我们发现，各位请看下一个案例。
新年快乐！
全世界的电竞风潮，其实现在已经方兴未艾。这次在台湾难得有这么国际级的赛事，身为本土厂商的我们，一定会站出来，全力支持。为港 SCG， 为台湾电竞加油！
你的小希望是我持续挑战的大力量。
你的小希望是我回馈基层的大力量。
你的小希望是我努力传承的大力量。
支持台湾运彩，就是支持我们的力量。
At the Olympic Games International Broadcast Center, Panasonic has shared the passion and excitement of the Games worldwide as the official worldwide partner of both the Olympic and Paralympic Games by supplying AV equipment for over 30 years. Panasonic equipment was used extensively for the opening and closing ceremonies of the Olympic Games to support compelling, immersive video presentations.
Panasonic.
密天新实业，枪手现身，天堂 M 11月14，枪手上阵。
全世界的电竞风潮，其实现在已经方兴未艾。这次在台湾难得有这么国际级的赛事，身为本土厂商的我们，一定会站出来，全力支持。为港 SDG， 为台湾电竞加油！
中华电信全台行动网速 No.1， 荣获2018国际测速权威肯定，基地台最多，频宽最大，品质冲第一。中华电信大4G， 实在有够赞。
是的，今天的最后一个比赛项目终于要登场啦！
哇，好期待哦！那接下来应该是轮到我们的 CSGO 了，对吧？
没错没错，马上就把我们的画面交给我们的主播赛评喽。
Alrighty guys, welcome on back. We are here for some CSGO action. I've got joined with me, Matty B. How are you today, mate?
Absolutely fantastic, Rob. It's an absolute pleasure to be here in Kaohsiung for the 10th ESPORT World Championship held by IASF. I'm pumped for a fantastic best-of-3 series.
Mate, we have Australia versus Sweden up today. So, I mean, both of these teams, Ground Zero and Flow, we know Ground Zero obviously more so than Flow. But what do you think we're going to expect today?
Well, I'm expecting a very intense best-of-3 series, right? On one side, we've got Ground Zero, who've been absolutely, one of those teams that are sort of challenging the higher tiers of Australian CS in their local region. And then on the other side, Flow, sort of in a similar aspect. They're also playing Mountain Dew League, although it's not the Premier League for the European region. It's that gateway to that top level, and they're playing against a lot of high-class opposition. So I expect to see a very classy matchup.
Well, look, Ground Zero, right? We need to have a quick chat about them. Because obviously coming into this, we've seen the run from both teams, right? They both slipped up at the start, and now it's starting to kind of even back out a little bit more. So, I mean, with Ground Zero, you can see Serbia they lost to, then they started to fix it up. Of course, Sri Lanka, for me, I think that's kind of where we're looking now. They've had a good result for the past 3 matches. And so too was similar for Flow, right? We saw them up against the boys from Japan. They beat them 2-1, but for me it was the closest series, right? It was the first 2 maps were decently contested.
Exactly right. I think the big thing for Flow, right, looking forward, was that first matchup against Giants. You've got to put in the back of your mind, right, because Giants are a very strong side themselves. Portugal, they've got a lot of experience in the lineup as well with players like Fox and MM, who have been around the Portuguese scene for quite a long time there in South America. I think coming off the back of that, though, they're in a similar spot to Ground Zero, right? Losing their opener and getting a couple of decent wins on the trot. But, of course, as you just said, that best-of-3 versus Scars, that put them in that little back foot scenario there. They 2 very close maps, 16-13 for the first 2. They then blew them out of the water with a 16-4 result as we look at the bracket now on screen.
Yeah, so of course we're now into the quarterfinal stages. So we've skipped the prelim matches, we've skipped all the nitty-gritty stuff, and we're going straight down into the hard, gritty, nitty business time. Australia versus Sweden is first up for the quarterfinals. Of course, you can see Tylon, and I mean, having a look at the group for Australia and Sweden, this is probably going to be the matchup, right? Whoever wins this, you would have to say, will push on in this bracket to the grand final.
I would have to agree with you on that one as well. You know, between Malaysia and Thailand, although they're decent teams, right, they're certainly not up to the scratch of either of these two teams. The competition isn't as intense in their regions, so I think that they're not quite ready for this. It's a fantastic exposure event for them, though, getting that taste of those higher tiers, whereas on the other side of the bracket, you know, we haven't quite hit the quarterfinals just yet. The results aren't in, but like that bottom four in the bottom right hand of screen, that is a deadly patch of 4 teams right there. Portugal, Russia, Finland and Serbia. Like that is the death side of the bracket, you have to say.
Yeah, and I think what that will do is it will kind of make way for the teams on the right-hand side. Rightio, so straight into the vetoes, my friend. We've got Australia banning out Overpass. That's what we expected coming in from Ground Zero. Flow have, of course, banned out Nuke. Both of the picks that we were looking at, we were talking about beforehand. We then go into Mirage, Cache, and Inferno being the decider. Matty B, I believe this is exactly what we were looking for.
Exactly right. Overpass this Grand Zero's permaban, right? The Australians don't really play that map, all right? And on the other side, Sweden, they have not touched Dust 2 at all. They don't want to play Nuke. So the vetoes have gone exactly to plan, right? You know, Mirage, Grand Zero, they've played it 3 times so far this event, and they've looked fantastic in their most recent outings, you know, against Sri Lanka and up against Georgia as well. They looked fantastic there. And on the other side, you know, Train, that was that huge win that Sweden picked up over Japan in their last matchup in the round of 16. So I think avoiding that was very beneficial for the Aussie boys.
Yeah, so I mean, we got to chat to Extinct right before we sort of came into this one. He was saying those 3 are the maps that they are looking for. That's the kind of best of 3 series that they were hoping for. They've been given it. There couldn't be a better time for Australia to step up on the international stage. Can we expect a lot from them? Do you think, I mean, they're coming up against Sweden. Obviously, you know, we had a chat about this just then. The fact they're from Europe, they're going to be at least more experienced and they're versing better opponents. So how are we feeling with this so far?
I think the big thing for them is taking their map pick, taking Mirage, right? It's been their best map so far in the past few months online and, of course, here at LAN at the ISF World Championships. They've looked fantastic on it in their more recent outings. You know, they've gotten the scalps of Nepal, Georgia, and Sri Lanka on those maps so far. So I think we're going to look towards that one being the key factor. If we go to Inferno, I think Grand Zero, the quality of opposition that they've won over, they're going to look good on it as well. But Sweden, I mean, they've taken maps off of ENCE on this map, right? And they're one of the top teams in Europe at the moment as well. So I think getting to map 3, you'd start to sway a little bit more towards Sweden.
Okay, so that's kind of, we're praying to God that Ground Zero can push through here. Of course, us being the Australian boys, we're going to be backing them to the rafters. But I think, you know, when we're looking at this is a great test for Ground Zero. This is a great test for Australia, an event like this. They're up against Sweden. This is the proving ground for them, right? And then if they beat Sweden here, they then push on into the semi-finals where I think
Thailand and Malaysia, right? Like,
yeah,
they're 2 teams that, like, so Thailand, you know, beyond, they've got a lot of experience playing out of the APAC region. They've certainly qualified for a lot of events as well, you know, making runs in pro leagues and those extremes land type of events, right? But this is a world stage event, you know, players from all over come here, and there's so many different types of play styles that you can pick up on and learn about. And I think that beyond they're going to struggle, like the Thailand and the Malaysian sides are going to struggle a bit going forward in this one. So I think that the winner of this, they're booking a ticket to the grand final.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for, right? Because this is, I feel this is the gateway match for this group anyway. But then, of course, you look across to the other group and there's a gateway match as well. So it's the quarterfinals right now. Generally, when you had a look at your screen, top left, top right, probably going to expect the teams that win there to meet in the middle. That's just kind of what we're looking at. But do you want to have a chat about the individual players, obviously, for both teams? Because we have got a little bit of background information, more so towards Ground Zero, but we know a lot about the Swedish team as well.
There's a lot of experience on the Swedish team as well. You know, we looked a lot at like players like Zadish and
Rusty.
Rusty was a big one as well. He played for Red Reserve. Players like Disco Doppler, Draken, Brolin. He's played with so many of those young talents from Sweden as well. So he's probably up there along those names as well. You know, one of those developing players that are waiting for their chance on a bigger lineup. We look at players like Zadish as well. He's been playing phenomenally so far this event, getting a lot of entry kills, supporting his side really well in other aspects of the game as well. These look really good so far. So I think that's a big thing for them. The huge critical factor that I'm looking at for Sweden here is the fact that they are relying heavily on getting the opening kill in each round and capitalizing on those plays. So like we look towards Mirage and Cache, they've played a lot of so far in this event, whereas Mirage, they're taking 80% of the rounds that they're getting their opening pick on, all right? And they're not really converting the rounds, but they're not getting those opening frags. So I think Grand Zero win their opening engagements, which Burner's been doing for them horrendously on the AWP. He's been an absolute beast for them getting the entries. If he can shut down those opening duels for Ground Zero, they're going to look the goods.
Yeah,
and then we can look to the likes of Nikes, who we know is a sharp player. We know that he actually comes in and cleans up more rounds than he opens up, right? So he'll kind of be the janitor. He'll come in, he'll make sure that things are kind of looking neat and tidy. But, I mean, Benji on the AWP for Flow, I think that this is going to be interesting, right? You've got Burn and Benji that are going to be going head-to-head. Two players that have had a decent tournament so far. Head-to-head, do you reckon we're going to favour one more than the other, or do you reckon it's going to come down to the individual maps?
It's going to come a lot down to the maps, I feel like. You know, Mirage is one of those ones where it opens up a lot of AWP play, specifically in those mid areas, you know, through Connector, Short, and the Sniper's Nest through jungle there, right? That's going to be the big play, taking mid control, and that's going to be a huge factor with the AWPers dictating control of those areas of the map, those long, wide, segmented areas where the AWP becomes more vital to owning that part of the map. So I feel like that's where the AWPers are going to come into play on Mirage. Cash, not as much. I don't think it relies too much on the way that the AWPers play out. I think Inferno will be a big one, though, for the AWPers if we get to map 3.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping that we do get to a map 3. I do want to see a banging best of 3. This, of course, is the start of the quarterfinal stages here at IESF for us. And it's a match. I think it is it's the bigger matchup of all of the quarterfinals that we've seen. You know, Australia and Sweden, again, I don't necessarily think they can go head-to-head. I don't know whether the head-to-head is equal as such. I definitely think it sways into the favour of Flow from Sweden. So, but again, we're kind of basing this off just mismatch information a little bit, aren't we? Because we don't have set in stone stats for Flow as much.
Well, for both teams, really, they're both coming off the back of roster changes, right? So that's the big thing. It plays a part as well. You know, coming to a LAN event, you got a fresher roster, so things aren't fully set in stone, right? So things are a bit loosey-goosey. They're playing a bit lax, and that's the big thing. We talked about the Swedish boys earlier as well. You know, we know a lot about European teams. They play with a lot of discipline.
Yep.
Whereas in the Australian region, right, there's a lot of more of a relaxed play style. Like the calling, it's, you know, a couple of players will go here, we'll see what happens, right? But, you know, in the European regions, we're going to go here, this is why, this is how it's going to play out. So it'll be interesting to see those two conflicting play styles come up for head-to-head.
Yeah, so, I mean, look, we had a look at the entire teams, right? The 26 teams that were coming into IESF, and we actually saw Denmark fall out early. Now, we weren't too happy about that, were we? It was we were a little bit disappointed because I thought that we'd see most of the European teams make it through.
Well, they look the goods, right? We were talking to one of their managers as well, and the thing is that they've got a huge thing. It's not even one of like the highest tier teams in Denmark, but the thing with Denmark is they really care about their esports. They thrive off of it, and they back it fully. So they've got coaches, they've got analysts, they've got psychologists, they've got the whole backing and the whole the team behind them. And you know, Denmark brought theirs with them here as well. And they looked the goods early on, but they got knocked out early, putting them out of the round of 16 stage. So, I mean, that's led us to here where we've got these current teams vying out for those spots in our ever so longing for grand final.
Yeah, and I think we can't really go too much further without starting to push a little bit of the Finnish story, I think. The team from Finland, Havu, they are looking the good. Like, you know, we thought that Denmark were looking the goods. They've come through and they've absolutely dominated so far. I think generally we are probably going to see a Finland, Sweden, or Australia. Like, I do think that's going to be kind of where we do bump heads at the end of the grand final. But, I mean, we don't really know, right? So, I think for me, I want to kind of look at the top 4 teams that we think are going to make it through. Now, I had Ground Zero picked to make it through to the quarterfinals. I wasn't 100% sure where the brackets were going to take us. And now that we see them up against Sweden, it might change a little bit. But on the other side, do you think that we are going to see more of the Finland? And do you really think Russia or the other team that was...
Romania.
Do you think that they will be able to compete against Finland?
100%. I actually genuinely believe that Romania can make another good run here. They did so last year at the previous IESF as well, where they got an upset, a huge upset over MVP PK in the finals at one point there. So, I mean, big plays for them as well. They were runners-up last year, so this is their opportunity to come back in. The opposition, although quite strong in itself, is definitely not as well known as it was last year. So a huge step for them to take a chance here. the big matchup on the other side of the bracket is going to be the winner of Portugal-Russia versus the winner of Finland-Serbia. That's going to be a huge indicator of where that side of the bracket is going to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to where it all comes to, because we've seen the teams. You know, we got to walk around and check out the teams, the individual players. We've had a chat to some of them. Sweden, I mean, we had a really good chat with them walking out of the lobby, didn't we? They're feeling confident, to say the very least.
Well, they were feeling confident. We asked them how they were feeling about their matchup in the round of 16 this morning before we came to the arena, and they're like, oh, Japan, 16-3, 16-5, 2-0, and look at how they ended up, right? They were oozing confidence, but they weren't quite set in stone with how they were going to play. So, I mean, it looks like the Aussies were in with a chance now. You know, the whole mindset's got to change for Sweden after that.
Yeah, I think that this, for me, for ground zero for the Australian nation, this is kind of the run that we would have hoped for. Right, they've got not an easier bracket to get through, but when you look at Havu up against, you know, your likes of Flow, you'd rather take on Flow and Malaysia and those kind of teams rather than coming through from the other bracket. So I think we might have been given a bit of a hand there. I mean, would that be fair to say?
I think the big thing there was the round differential they ended up getting in the upset that Georgia took over Serbia in the group stage. That was a huge indicator, because Serbia, they just ran all over the top of Australia. The boys weren't ready for that one. We talked to them after that match, and they were like, yeah, we just weren't ready for that sort of play style to come out of the Serbians. And the fact that they got upset then by Georgia, who the Australian guys dominated 6-7-2 Mirage, so the round differential was the big key factor there. And so that's how they got that top seed and avoided that perilous bottom right-hand corner of the bracket.
Yeah, I think looking with Sweden as well, they had a bit of an unstable run from the round of 16 up against Scars from Japan. So I do think that ground zero are in with a good shot to take this. I mean, I don't want to sell that story too much, but I do feel like ground zero have the goods to make this work. Of course, like you were saying, with roster shuffles and lack of information, it's kind of hard for us to give the flat-out prediction. But what are your thoughts?
I'm going to go with what my head's saying, right? My heart says ground zero. I want them to do well. I want the Aussie boys to make a run here, because this is their opportunity to win an international land, right? But I'm thinking we're going to see all three maps, and if we get to Inferno, I'm giving the Swedish guys the edge.
You're giving Flow. You're going to give Flow 2-1.
2-1.
Jeez, that is rough. You've gone ahead.
If we get to map 3, it's going to Sweden.
But you think it's a possible 2-0?
Okay. So, looking at this one, the Aussie guys, they have to take cash. They have to take Mirage and cash. If it goes to Inferno, they're not getting the series.
Yeah. All right, that's fair enough. I'm going to back the Australian boys here. I'm going to back them 2-1. Actually, I'm going to go and flip what you're saying.
All right.
I think that each team will take their respective map tips. And mate, Inferno, right? We know for a fact that Inferno is one of those, like, it's the banging map to finish on, right? How many series have we seen in this year alone where, like, that's been the deciding factor, was Inferno? And we saw look at the E-League, right? We saw 3, I think it was 3 overtimes?
3 overtimes at the E-League major for Cloud9 and FaZe. It was incredible stuff.
So, I don't know. I genuinely think that when we do get to Inferno, that's going to be the deciding map. I hope so, man. It is the trifecta.
Hey? It's El Clasico, the main sort of leadership. You think of some of the classic matches all through Counter-Strike history. NiP versus Envious, Fnatic versus NiP, Fnatic versus Envy. All those massive major finals from the past, right? They've all finished on Inferno. It's been the penultimate map. So that's going to be the big one here. And you see so many series decided in such intense fashion. Like, you're really in the Bono, you're in the boiler, Inferno.
I want ground zero to make this work. Map 3, I hope to God that we get to map 3. That's where I'm looking to. But, I mean, this is the trifecta for Australia, right? Mirage, Kaohsiung, and Inferno as well. These are the maps that we see played so predominantly throughout the AU region. So I generally think that ground zero, they could not have a better opportunity to take this.
100%. They played the first 2 maps so far in this event as well. They just beat Sri Lanka on Mirage and Cash respectively, right? 16-4, 16-10. I think they fell asleep a little bit on Cash there. You know, they weren't quite aware of how Sri Lanka were going to play those areas. It looked like they were getting rather aggressive in towards middle and A main, and they weren't quite ready for that. Where we've seen how, looking back at some of previous results for the Swedish guys, they like to play pretty passive on Cash, play lots of retake heavy stuff, especially over towards that A site. So that might actually give ground zero an edge there if they're giving them the space to make the plays they want to. It gives guys like Extinct and Nickers the sort of background to sort of give their team the platform to launch off of.
Yeah, it's kind of like give yourself enough room on the rope and you'll hang yourself. So if they, like if they're, but if they're smart enough, if Ground Zero could just back away on Cash especially, I mean, that was the map that we got to highlight more so for Flow, and we saw the fact that they do go for the aggressive peak sometimes. So there is that opportunity for us to kind of see if Ground Zero can make that work.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, though. With Sweden taking the aggressive peaks, right, that's where it comes in back to those statistics with the opening picks being a huge factor for them. Cash is one of those maps where they've looked good on as well in this event, and looking at the statistics for just IESF in particular, right, they have, again, an 80% round conversion rate when getting the opening pick, which is massive, right? You want to aim for about 75%. You're winning 3/4 of your rounds after getting the opening pick. So they're doing that right, but when they're not winning the round, like they're not getting their opening pick, it drops down to like 20%, right? They're not winning as many rounds on the other side when they're not getting the opening engagement right. So like going back right back to the start at the pregame, right? Whoever's going to win the opening duels here, that's going to dictate who's going to take the maps.
But that's never been more true of Counter-Strike. I feel like that's just the way that Australian regions play specifically, like that's kind of what we can rest on, is the fact that if we're sharp, if they're on point, they should be able to take their map. Again, I want them to take 2-1. I do want to see them do so, but it is going to be a tall order. It's going to be a tough ask for them to push through this particular game. We do know, of course, Sweden being Sweden, they could just come out and dominate.
That is the huge thing as well. Lots of experience in the Swedish scene in the background area there as well. As we already touched on, Rusty being a player who's played amongst some of the bigger names coming through the scene currently on the backup red reserve. Disco Doplin, Roland, Twist, those guys there. So he's played with those stars before. He's got that experience, and experience is going to be a big thing for these teams as well. Playing this incredible stage behind us here, live in Kaohsiung, right? That sort of experience as a player, as an individual, rather, it's something they can take away from this event regardless of the outcome of this match.
Look, I'm just going to stop talking about that for a second. How unbelievable is this stage? I mean, like, just have a look at it. The pure size of it is ridiculous.
It is monstrous in size. It is insane.
Sorry, I just had to take that in for a moment. Of course, this being both of our first international casts for CSGO. It's a huge time for not only the Australian boys, but the Australian boys, That's what I'm talking about. Let's get excited. Of course, we do have Mirage first, Cache next, and Inferno going to be last. That's correct, isn't it?
That's exactly right. And I mean, we talked about this in the green room before going live as well. We sat down, quick revision of the teams going forward, and we looked at the results and said, yep, this is how the veto process is going to go. I did it word for word, right? I've got it written right here on my notes. I'm a genius.
It's no lie. It's no lie.
The proof is in the pudding, right? So, I mean, the fact that Overpass was such a strong map for the Swedish side, and it's Ground Zero's permaban, right? That's a huge negative to take in for Sweden, right? But the fact of the matter is, right, is they've looked pretty consistent on Cash so far this event, and that's the big thing to look at this event so far with this roster against the level of competition here. I think it's really going to come down to, it's one of those cliches, but it's going to come down to who's going to win the aim duels.
Yep. No, there's no ifs or buts. I think that there could be a silver lining for Ground Zero here. I do think that Sweden could come into this quite confidently. They were a little bit maybe too overconfident to a certain extent. We saw them very lackadaisy outside of the hotel room. There wasn't too much to go around. We can't really bat around the bushes here. Do you think that could play a factor for Australia? Do you think that do you think that Sweden could come into this a little bit too overconfident?
I think the huge thing for them is they got knocked down a peg by Japan in the previous matchup, right? Because as I said before, they were oozing confidence, right? We'll take it 16-3, 16-5, whatever, right? Like, this is just a step in the way to the grand final. They obviously won that matchup, right? But it wasn't as convincing as they initially thought it was going to be. So, coming into this matchup with the Australian side, who is a little bit more versed, the confidence might be just a little bit shook.
You'd hope so. You'd hope that, like, maybe that's kind of a wake-up call, right? If ever there's a point in time where you can kind of say, all right, it's time to wake up. It's time to stop kind of taking this a little bit too light. Because I feel like if that's the result that Scars are being able to pull out. Now, I mean, we can't take anything away from Scars, can we?
Hell no.
Like, their roster is quite strong. Obviously, having a small little shuffle towards the start of October, that might have kept a little bit of instability in it. But overall, Sweden should be coming into this very confident. I mean, you've got Benju who's on that AWP, and he's been massive this event alone. I don't know whether we were able to actually pull the stats up there, but he's been opening the rounds for Sweden more times than not. So, you know, these are the opportunities that they can make. So this is the opportunity for Ground Zero. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be coming back from a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon.
因为上晚班，我知道有些人吃饭总是特别晚。你好，麦当劳欢乐颂，今天又这么晚？
不晓得加班到几点。
没关系，欢乐颂24小时都有。
谢谢。
加油！我想，我送的不只是温暖的食物。
这个时候有你真好。
他很轻，却有挑战世界的重量。
在场上投入的是必胜的决心。
不断向上，举起台湾的希望。
用棒球证明台湾最棒。
可乐果一起为梦想加油。台湾熊赞，蓝莓可乐果熊松。烈火视频。
In buff. In buff. In buff. In buff, we trust. Buff 能量饮料含花青素双效登场。
星光3月周年庆，化妆品满2000送200，全馆满5000送500，贵宾卡独享更多优惠，还有 BT21限量好礼等你来收集。
你的小希望是我持续挑战的大力量。
你的小希望是我回馈基层的大力量。
你的小希望是我努力传承的大力量。
支持台湾日产，就是支持我们的力量。
Alrighty guys, welcome on back. Hope you didn't keep waiting too long. Of course, we're here for the Sweden versus Australia match. Ground Zero versus Flow. Now, we have just cut to a quick commercial break. We had a couple of technical difficulties, but we've worked through them.
Exactly right, and that's what you like to see. Just quick, effective action there, so we get the action on track as soon as possible. I mean, we've been waiting for this one all day. I'm so pumped to see this match actually finally happen.
Yeah. I feel like it's literally been 2 days waiting for this match, for the quarterfinals to kick off. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who aren't aware, we have had the CSGO preliminary group stages being played all of yesterday and this morning. This is what we've come down to. We've dwindled it down to 8 teams. Now, we're, of course, focusing on the left side of the bracket to start with. Now, Australia versus Sweden, Ground Zero versus Flow. We've kind of given it the backstory that if Sweden come out swinging, Australia could be in trouble.
That's exactly right. And I mean, we've seen both these teams play these maps quite heavily, right? Because they're like the staple maps, right? You need to learn them at your basic core as a team developing. Because these two teams are in those sort of development areas in their respective countries and leagues, both playing in Mountain Dew League in their respective regions. Mountain Dew League is a premier league for the Australian region, where it's more of a development league sort of thing, like it's a Div 2 type thing for the European region. So it's sort of different in that aspect, but Ground Zero, one of those teams that are sort of challenging those higher tier teams from their respective region, whereas Flow, they're up there right in Div 2, but they're not quite ready to take that next step to pro.
So you'd say generally around like the region, how do you reckon that they match up head to head?
Head to head, like, are you saying like Australia versus Sweden?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think that they're pretty well matched, in all honesty, looking at past results as well as this event in particular. I mean, the thing is, Australian teams, we tend to do pretty well against a lot of these Asian lineups as well. So we see the Aussie boys there on screen getting ready for their matchup. I think the big thing for them, right, is they played against a lot of the Asian teams, so they have a lot of experience there. It's coming up against these teams that have come overseas from Europe as we look to the Swedes now, who have a lot more experience. They get to scrim a lot of the higher tier teams as well. You know, they get to Flow. They just recently come up against 3D Max and Virtus Pro and Mountain Dew League before coming over here to Kaohsiung.
So that is kind of the benchmark for them, right? This is where the development of Sweden, is it going to be more so than Australia? Doesn't make a difference, my friend. We are into it. Only seconds left until we're basically going to see any sort of action. Got a bit of have fun in the chat, bit of love for both teams, and a little graphic coming up there on your screen. Starting off with, however, Australia, they're just going to set themselves across towards that A area.
Yeah, T-side for the Aussie boys here. They've got full lots of armor, no utility to play around with. There's a kit and a smoke in the hands of Sweden there, as they have a bit of a double stack over towards this jungle middle area of the map, as they're going to play very passively over towards A. Just one man forward under Palace, as it looks like this is where the Aussie boys are going to be coming in late in the round. Just a slow creep out, a contact play. They've done this fairly often so far this event as well. We saw them do it previously on Cash versus Schwenger. They're spotted out there by the man in CT. That is Rusty taking that engagement at ranges. Burns going to look to clear some angles out. The man in from under Dark Knight, he's going to take that initial fight. There's three players here crowned together for Ground Zero Australia. They pick up the initial picks though. Destiny, Void and Nickez all opening up the round.
Yeah, unbelievably done. Hugo, the only one to remain, and Australia makes light work of Sweden straight out of the gates. That's going to be the first pistol round and the first round on the board. A nice way for Ground Zero to kind of kickstart this tournament in the quarterfinal stages. Of course, this is going to be a best of three, ladies and gentlemen. But just talk to me about that A-Pins for a second. We had one coming through Connector, which caused so much mayhem in triple and in jungle. So, are Ground Zero ready for this?
They look pretty well prepared. I think the huge thing for them there was that late creep in towards middle and connected, as you said there. It caused a lot of disruption for those two players posted up in towards middle and jungle as they take new control here on the anti-eco. There's a little bit of a force buy in from Sweden. A couple of pistols and armor picked up his burn. The timing's not quite there, and Benji, I think he spotted the man out in towards middle there as they've already creeped up in towards connector. So there will be three players posted up here for Sweden as Burn does spot the players here over towards Connor, and he's just getting aggressive there, swinging there with the AK-47. Zaj is here on the side there, ready to take that one down as Burn will open up for these players pushing in through connector, and a couple of quick kills for the Aussie lads as they take control of the A site very swiftly.
Yeah, again, Hugo's just going to be the last to remain. Australia starting off in a bit of fine fashion. The first two rounds on the board with only one casualty. It was Burn opening up mostly, but that's all right. Slow and steady wins the race. Grouse. There we go. Hugo, he'll be backstabbed by Destiny in the end, so a nice start for Australia. They get a little bit of confidence, hitting the ground running, but for how much longer?
Well, that'll be the interesting factor here. I think that with the way the new economy update's affecting a lot of teams on their CT side, the money's changed, right? So now they're going to be going for force buys and things like that. There's no guns being picked up here for the Swedish lineup as the Aussie boys, they've got 4 AKs in the Mac 10 here, so they're very well set up here for an anti-eco play. But look at this from Sweden. They're all stacked up over towards short, very aggressive in towards middle. Just one player playing in towards this side here. That is Rusty. So help with the information, man, as they've already swung over towards this connector area as well.
Yeah, Rusty's just going to be hiding on triple. They haven't spotted him out yet. He could do some serious damage. They're not going to have head armor. Destiny's been taken down, but that's okay. Nickez will trade too. Nicely done. All three players now from Sweden going to be coming through connector. Makes life a little bit harder for them. Of course, the one-dimension retake, not going to happen. They're just happy to try and find some exits. I mean, Nickez is low. Destiny dies. Sweden, you couldn't be too upset with that to start with. It is just a small amount of damage done. Cross towards a T-spawn. Void, however, he just needs to stay alive. No need to drop the AK.
Yeah, doesn't want to give up these rifles, but Zer with a great shot there. taking the head off of Void there in that engagement. So he's very low HP. The Australian side can definitely hunt down these players. They don't want to give up any more of these rifles, though, which is the dangerous part here. So it looks like Nickez is just going to be hiding off in towards this T-spawn area. But sir, he's still on the hunt, as is Benji. And he'll spot out Extinct there, trying to take the fight.
There we go. Cleaned up in the end. Burn will come in. Cool, calm, collective. That's what you like to see. But the tech pause is going to be called right now. So possibly a small issue inside of the server. Maybe with a PC. We're not 100% sure. But that's a nice start for Australia.
It is a great start for Australia. 3 quick rounds there. Bomb plants going as well, taking control of the A site in every single instance as well. So that's huge confidence they can take moving forward in that aspect. I think I'll be curious to see how Sweden adjust now in their first gun round moving forward. They've played Rusty, the anchoring the site the entire time, so that's an early tell for them. So he'll be that passive play in towards CT and Triple Box, getting that information for his side. It's about how they're going to play off the back of that. So it looks like the pause is wrapped up there. It'll be a gun round for Sweden. They'll pick up 4 rifles in the AWP as well, as it'll be Australia. Fast execute play over towards A by the looks of it. Players getting ready to throw their smokes, etc. Even a man over towards Palace here, as the utility's going to be flying over in just a hot moment.
There we go. Setup is there. The execute's just going to be a bit of a default one. Stairs, CT, and jungle now with the smokes. They're going to be trying to hold the line here, Sweden. Wait for these players to push on out, making short work of it. Already taking the site, but this is nice from Sweden. They've still got a lot of utility to retake it. Smoke comes over towards Connector to try and keep Flow at bay for a moment longer. Grenade, however, is not going to catch anyone. That's going to be Burn going aggressive, taking down Benji towards stairs. Extinct's got 2 to find here, but Rusty, he slowly makes his way in from CT. It's Burn that spots out another, but he might find a free kill in Nickez, who's over towards stairs. Not going to happen, and there we go. The trade's coming in. Rusty finds a second, and that's going to be it. Nickez, they're doing the work, Australia. They're literally just capitalizing on tiny mistakes made from Sweden, and that is a major error in their first buy round.
Well, the passive setup there was a bit of an interesting call. I mean, players not even in the site giving it up, and they didn't have the Molotovs or the HE grenades to really clear out all the angles they wanted to. Firebox was a huge one there. Extinct was able to stay alive in the back of the site and just reap havoc for a very long time. It's not the sort of setup you want to go with when you don't have the most optimal buy with all the force buying they've done so far.
And again, they're just setting themselves up towards A. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's going to be Burn missing the first shot. Punished as well. Rusty, he'll be waiting for the AWP now, who can go and drop to Benji if he so pleases. Playing still close towards A main, however. A bit of information given to Sweden here. Of course, this is just somewhat of a forced buy, a bit of a low economical buy. Destiny, he finds Zera in towards underpass. Now, they do look possibly to pinch on towards this A side. 2 coming from unders. Destiny, does he spot out Benji? Benji's got the deagle in towards Connector. I think he might have just spotted out for a second.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting that the damage trade off onto Destiny as well. With the force buy coming in against Sweden, I don't think they've really full ecoed too much in this one, minus that train they did in through short there. So, chance to build up a bit of bank here for the Aussie lads. They're going to keep hampering this CT coming. They're not going to have a full buy until another round, really. I mean, Rusty still has that AWP in hand to play with. He's already rotated himself all the way in through T-spawn. And there's still players here for ground zero. There's Zadis actually there as the player comes in through middle for Sweden. Rusty with the AWP there.
It might even be worth trying to save it. I mean, is that the jump to short? Oh, he's hit Nickez down. The bomb, however, will be retrieved and put down by Void. And now there's an opportunity for Sweden. They're taking down another, swings onto the member. Extinct, however, not finding it. Rusty now just going to be playing the 1v2 with the AWP. He's just making his way around the corner, swaps out to the Deagle, maybe baits out Extinct, but no. 5-0 on the trot, and Australia, they're off to a blazing start.
That could have been so dangerous there for the Australian side. Their Destiny was still in towards that middle window area. Rusty wins that duel. That's an open bomb site. Destiny's nowhere near the site there to defend it. He wasn't planted for him. That was a huge opportunity going begging there for Sweden with that missed shot there. A lot of aggression there. They picked up a lot of frags, so it's interesting to see how their confidence will begin to pick up there as they go into a full gun round here. This is the one when they can play those more passive setups. They've got the HE grenades. They've got the Molotovs. They can play for more information as Burn just spots out the man jump peeking over towards the van there as again Destiny. He's going to creep out in towards the slower part of middle.
A bit of a better buy for Sweden this time around. AWP on the Benji. That's what we needed to see. So Rusty might have been baited into going for that after finding the 2 kills in the previous round. Regardless, Sweden get the full buy. Utility now coming over towards middle. Give themselves a little bit of control. Here's Adjish that starts out. Rusty swings wide, nearly taking down Burn as well. And that is the advantage that Sweden have been looking for. Not only finding Extinct, but Nikes as well. And for little less than 12 hit points, Australia have a fair bit to do to try and claw this round back.
Well, that's the thing. They're still trying to put pressure on this mid sort of segment of the map. But Sweden, they're able to give it up. They don't have to take too many of these fights. But Rusty, he's still aggressive behind this Molotov. He can get the timing here. The flashbang is deployed. He spots out Destiny there. There's no trade potential as Void will walk into this one. And it's just Burn now 1v5 with the AWP in hand. And the flash from Rusty, the timing not quite there. He is aware of the possibility, but Burn will get his first frag here. 40 seconds on the clock here. It's all about damage from this point on. He's spotted out by the men towards Connector, but a great flick onto the head of Zadish. Just evens numbers a little bit, but that'll be all she wrote there for Burn's life as Sweden pick up their first.
Yeah, very much needed round for the Swedish side. First kill for Benji. Hugo's still missing, but Rusty, that's the kind of impact we need to be seeing. He is the member that we know is kind of filling in from Red Reserve, so we can expect him to do a lot of damage to this Australian side. However, just to start out with mid-control for Australia. Just tapping away towards the top. Maybe doing a little bit of damage. No, he gets away scot-free and only just, but Zadish now holding the line towards unders. This could be dangerous. It's actually a fair amount of damage done to Benji, I believe. And now, slowly setting up for this mid hit. Zadish has already spotted him out. The Molotov will force them back. That's the control given to Australia for mid, and that's Burn opening up on the Rusty as well. Hugo, however, finds the trade. Still 4 to go. But Australia, they look in control of this round.
And that's the thing too, that mid-crunch there from Sweden was well timed there, but it was traded very effectively by Australia, damage and frag-wise as well, as they make it a 4-on-4, and the HP on these Swedish players is very, very low as they see them stacking up over towards A, and that's the read that Australia have just misinterpreted here. Nikes is still posted up in towards Connector. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, as there's already a man aggressing in B apartments for Sweden, so they know the hit's going to come in here. There's a lack of utility for the Australian side, so it's going to be one of those raw hits. We've seen them do so much. The Molotov goes in towards CT ticket booth there. Benji under a lot of pressure as the nade comes in as well. On top of him, 2 HP for the man there. He's got support though, and the nade spreads onto Zadish, and these players now, foreground 0 Australia, are stacked up entirely.
Yeah, there's one player, Hugo. He could have done massive damage coming in on the flank there. Not to be. Benji picks Void out of the sky, but that's all it's going to be in Australia right now. Off to a running start. Out of the gates nice and hot, and that's exactly what we were looking for. This is the performance that Australia are going to need if they can take this further into this series, of course. Being the best of 3, plenty of time for Sweden to reset themselves. But just a nice, light, easy play. Australia taking a lot of control towards middle, and that is another opening from Burn again. We looked to him on ground 0 as the player that could kind of turn the tides for them, and he's showing it.
And that's the big thing, too, we talked about in pre-game. Sweden aren't winning their opening engagements, right? Their round conversion isn't quite there for themselves as Burn. He's been that huge instigator for the Australian side. Getting those opening duels there as Rusty hits a nice 1 dig onto Nikes. That'll take his scalp off. Turns into a 4-on-4 on these pistols for Sweden. Not as strong as the AK-47s or the AWP, but still very dangerous in the hands of these players.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that you do need to be concerned about. You don't want to give them, I mean, this is the point, right? You don't want to give them too much respect, but you also don't want to give them any, like, you don't want to be, like, disrespecting them in any sense. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. Destiny going to be missing the first shot, however, rather Burn missing the first shot. Backs away Benji for a moment, but look at this stack across towards the B side. It is Destiny finding Benji. Now the smoke coming over towards the door. He nearly gets caught out there as he pushes just maybe a little bit preemptively. Pushing on up, misses the no-scope. Hugo finds one. He's got a little bit more work to do. Picks up the AWP. Rusty's there to support. He finds one in Extinct. The pixel angle for Hugo works out a charm. And Destiny now has to come in and clean up 15 HP. He's already been spotted. He's on for the 1v2. He needs to pull this back or fall away. He's got 4K in the bank. This is the perfect time to do it. Rusty nearly being spotted, but Hugo, they play that one out perfectly, Sweden. I believe that was a 2 versus 4.
It was a 3v4 coming in towards the bomb site. There's a player stacked in towards Ninja as well that caught the Australian side off guard there. And that allowed them to sort of get those tricky frags in towards the site. And those pillars can be so confusing when you start losing frags in those eco rounds. It gets a little bit hectic there. And it looks like that's what happened to the Australian sides that all fell apart. And that's affected their economy quite massively, losing to the eco, the pistols for the Swedes there, as they'll have 3 AKs, a Galil and a CZ for Extinct. They do have the utility here. They can take a bomb site hit. The thing with Ground Zero is they haven't really used any executes here. They've just sort of gone into the sites dry, or they've just sort of done a contact-esque play. But look at this, Zadish staying alive in the back of the site in towards Firebox, but Rusty doesn't need him. He's picked up 2 for himself as Void does get the trade initially, but there's no bullets in his magazine. Now it's a 3-on-3, and the T-side have the site.
Yeah, Hugo coming from CT might just be able to catch out the line from Void. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. 2 across, however. That's going to be tapping away Zer. Void catching Benji out, and that's massive. Look at the boost coming through. They haven't been able to catch out Void. They're both low there. Australia needs to be careful. Hugo, however, from CT, he can wait to re-aggress when Zer starts to push a little bit more. He backs away and looks to join his teammate. Could be massive. It's Hugo that opens up the bank account in the retake. The Molotov now to flush Void out. That's going to force him out into position, but Void, he hits the run and shot, but Zer trades out promptly. Destiny now left 1v. Oh no, he's already letting him know where he is. That forces him out of position, but he's playing the bait. He's going to stick it. It's 10 seconds. 5 seconds rather. Zer, does he have enough? No, Destiny plays it perfectly. You could not have got that any better if you're Destiny there.
He played that to perfection there. The positioning in towards jungle a little bit questionable where the bomb plant was coming in there. Over towards the CT side of Triple, but he gets away with that one. I think he just got into the head there of Zer a little bit in that 1v1. Just swinging back and forth. The spray through the box put him under a lot of pressure there. Looks like, again, mid-control coming in for the Aussie side. They haven't really hit the B site too aggressively as of yet. It's been lots of middle and A hits, splits, and lots of control taken. As information given here by the pistol eye for Sweden. They've got a couple of Deagles, 5.7 and PZ50s across the board. So just looking to do some more damage to this Australian economy. It hasn't quite solidified again after losing a couple of rounds. It's a little bit of a dangerous situation now.
Yeah, but having said that, Sweden, they're not like in any sort of driving seat at the moment. They've only got the Deagles. I say only, I hate that word only. As we know full well, they can do it in the hands of sharp players. Zadish, not so sharp, doesn't need to be there. Waiting for Void to push on through. Now more of an A hit. This is not so good for Australia, but they are just going to take raw peaks, waiting for the aim to outdo them. Nikaz takes a dink and needs to back away for a second. Benji as well. He retreats. He knows that Hugo's up there for support. Destiny shutting down Zer in towards middle. That makes their life so much easier. Extinct will be able to catch Hugo swinging after taking down Burn. And it's only Benji to try and bring back anything. Even a kill would have been nice there, but Nikaz will shut that down. 2 kills in the round for Sweden. You can't be too upset.
Certainly not, as the T-side economy isn't quite there as of yet. I mean, they've lost a couple of rounds now, and a lot of damage being done by the Swedes with the pistols. They're starting to hamper down on the Australian side. They have all the AKs and the utility to play with now. No AWP in the hands of Burners. Sweden into another gun round here, although a very weak one at that, with the M4s and a FAMAS there in the hands of Zer. There's no head armor, there's no utility, there's no kits. It's very bare bones.
Yeah, it's a little bit dangerous if to say, but that's all right. Smoke's now out. Molotov will come in through from Destiny, and this is really nice from Australia. They take the site by force, bully Sweden back out. They've been playing retake on A more times than not. Benji's been able to catch out, oh no, Rusty rather, through the smoke. He finds Nikaz, who was trying to get the bomb down. This isn't looking so good for Australia. Not too hot. They need to be careful. 3 now left. They do push. Extinct finds one. Destiny in the midst of it all. It's now all on the Burn and Destiny combined, but this push from Zer from behind could cause absolute mayhem. Bomb goes down. They both push towards CT. Control now given somewhat back to Australia.
That's the huge thing here. Destiny's going to keep pushing forward. He's going to look to try and take these fights, and just be aware of the possibility of this positioning from the Swedes. But they've grouped up over towards jungle here. They've given the position over to the Australian side. So now the 2v3 on these players, they're in this sort of tunnel vision area as Destiny wins that initial engagement versus Rusty. Smoke on the bomber. They're not really connecting to the side. There's a play up on towards the balcony, and that'll be around for the Swedes. As they hold down that one on the retake, they're a 3v2. Very well played there. Sweden pick up their 3rd.
Yeah, Hugo just dropping that smoke for the bomb, but a nice bait out and allows Zer to take down both players from CT. So well played from both sides. I mean, I don't mind what Australia do there. it makes life harder that Sweden come in so hot and heavy, right? They know that they've got control of A main, connector, and jungle, so there's only 2 places they can be.
That's a big thing too, and they spot out that the players will be in towards CT there, and I love the positioning of the man in towards Palace there, and that smoke thrown on the bomb actually sort of worked as a little bit of a one-way there. He can see above in towards CT with the positioning of that one, whereas the opposition couldn't see over the top of that, so he was able to pick up a couple of frags there on towards Burn and Destiny. As we're going to go into our next round, a gun round for both sides. The money very weak though for both teams. Again, a couple of kits for Sweden this time around, but not as much utility to play with. Same can be said for ground zero.
Just coming in towards the bottom, pushes Burn away for a moment. Towards short. Two in connect up. Zadish. Molotov might just flush out Burn. It looks as though they know he's there. He actually misses the shots. Burn finds the kill. And that is a chance that's gone begging for Sweden to find the opening. Burn again back on the... this man is reaching for the rounds right now. And you may as well... You've got the opportunity to just look how clumped up Sweden are.
Well, I mean, if you look at the rounds, right, every single one that Sweden have won, they've gotten the opening pick in. And look at this aggression. The middle crunch comes in. Burn's able to get one, but Benji smacks down 2 more for their troubles, and it's now a 1-on-3 for Void as he's just walking out A main. And everything's fallen apart for the Australian side as he's in this 1v3. 40 seconds on the clock, plenty of time still to play around with. He spots at the man in towards connector. Swing across very aggressively in towards jungle. He hears the player in towards market. This is where it gets a bit dicey, but the swing comes in for Benji, and he cleans up there. Massive 3-piece for him there as Sweden get their 4th.
Yeah, it sets back Australia a little bit. They just go back for the, I would dare say, save. They're all around that 2K mark, so they can do so confidently. Sweden, though, they are showing resilience. Bouncing back a small portion. But the big factor for the Swedes, for Flow, of course, look at their economy. Any damage done could be good. It's going to be Extinct that finds only 1. Destiny and Void. Any sort of damage that they can do is massive. He's nearly been able to pick up the M4 there. It doesn't happen, but they know of the position of Destiny from that previous kill. He backs away with the Glock to try and find some more damage. However, that is quite the impact from Glocks.
2 Glocks picking up 2 frags there. That's 2 rifles out of the hands of the Swedens and 2 lots of armor utility they have to rebuy. So any damage from here on out is even more impactful, if anything, as he's going to go swinging into the AWP of Benji there. Sweden will get their 5th and a couple of Matrop there, so confidence will start to build up for those boys. But the rebuying coming in now. Rusty's money not as solidified as the rest of his side. So a drop will have to come in here, and we have Australia back onto the guns here. They have all 5 AKs across the board. Lots of smokes here. Potential to see another one of those AX kits come across.
So too, it looks like you might be on the money. Setting up, you would dare say, for the default smokes. Jungle, stairs, and CT. Sweden at the moment, they've left only 2 there. It's Zadish and Rusty, but with the way they've been able to hold these retakes, Void finds the opening. Rusty was maybe a little bit too aggressive. He would punish for that as well. Extinct trying to fire away through towards connector. There was a small gap. Zadish will be able to shut down Destiny. And look at this boost up. It's not a boost, rather. It's just a simple jump, and they haven't been spotting it. Hugo now can come through for the cleanup. He'll be able to find Extinct. Nikez and Burn, they've got quite the task ahead of them. The smoke will hold Burn.
Here it is here. From Anton Squared Me, a genius. Shout out to my main man, Dan.
This is so funny.
If he's watching, he's not watching because he's based in the US and he'll be fast asleep. But he says here, I don't think he's pressed. And there's Hikaru photoshopped into the picture there with Magnus and Fabiano, which is he's a Photoshop god.
Yes, he is.
He's a Photoshop.
Dan does some really cool things.
Everybody go and follow him. He is absolutely brilliant, and he's going to be uncorking a lot of genius little tweets throughout the World Championships. No question about it.
All right, so definitely follow him, but let's go back to this game and follow the action here. So we had knight b4, and I'm just thinking, Lawrence, can I just take on b4 now?
You can do whatever
because
you want.
Queen c7 does look dangerous after.
But now I hit you. I hit your rook.
You hit my rook,
and then I can just.
And then my e4 pawn's attacked as well. So this is not great. No, I don't want to take bishop b4. And this definitely doesn't work, yeah. Looks like it. Looks like it doesn't work.
I think I don't want to say black is better, but you know, it looks very tricky.
Yeah, maybe I just can't take the pawn.
Actually, Hikaru just played a move. Let's see
Did
what
he
he
just
did.
move his queen somewhere? What did he play?
He played.
Let's update the board. Yeah, he went queen b1 here.
Queen b1. That's a clever move.
So you're targeting the b7 pawn and not the c7 pawn, and he immediately went knight a6 with the idea to go knight c5, attacking the e4 pawn.
Yeah, so if queen takes b7, knight c5,
That's
and if you
correct.
collect some more pawns, you can get a bit. Knight takes e4, for example, d5.
And now d5, and you've got this really annoying threat of bishop c5
Exactly.
as well. So he's gone queen b7. So this position.
Ground zero to bounce back. In case as the second map, they flood on towards the B-bomb side. Australia has to hold. It's Void up towards Get Right. Oh, Nick has found 2 kills, and he's so sharp right now. And Void at the... Oh, no, Void. He fired off a little bit too early, a little bit preemptively, and that will cost him his life and the control of the B-bomb site. That could have been massive. Void was that anchor. He was the soul of the B-bomb site. Nickez had done enough to take away their distraction, but it's not to be. The retake now. 3v3. Sweden holds strong.
And now there'll be the ground zero walkout here. There's no kits in hand currently. I don't even know if there was one dropped in towards the side there. As Extinct looks to take this fight over towards bench there as Hugo gets a couple for himself, and Benji cleans up there in a very fast sweep from Sweden. You're right there. That Void pick up there by Sweden there in towards that boosted box. There's a huge misstep there from the Australian side.
It feels a little bit harsh. Void, unfortunately, he just misses the shots, but that could be quite a momentum booster for Sweden and rather a dampener to the spirits. Australia, they started off with the 2 kills. Nick has done well to slow that push down. And it fizzles out. 2 players going aggressive towards short. B's completely open. Australia have a free sight. The smokes come over the top. Or rather, Sweden have a free sight. They push on through. He goes over the top. That's a small amount of damage being done. Look at this, just the snake in the grass. And that's the Zeus from Void. He was sitting underneath and waited for the players to push on out. A free kill. But Rusty being so aggressive towards Market Door, it makes things a lot harder. Again, look at this from Nickez, though. He's slowly towards the smoke. He could do some damage. Benji's low as well. I mean, it could get dangerous. There is a realm in which that doesn't go that way, and Australia start to kind of gain control of the side a little bit more. Extinct can't hit the last shot, but Sweden looking strong to start out this T side.
Well, I mean, they managed to recover the AK-47 there, which is a huge factor for them, and they did a lot of damage with the SMGs. They were picking up the majority of the kills for them. So that's a huge boost to their economy there. As we see the Aussie boys, they go for the EQ on the second round, so they'll have the rifles for our third this half here. The M4s across the board, lots of smokes and flashes to play around with. There's damage done in towards middle as well. Very aggressive from Sweden here. They have to close the gap here with these small arm weapons as Void gets a nice triple there from that lower position in towards middle, and that's a huge start for the Aussie guys in this initial gun round.
Yeah, he bounces back. Makes up for his previous mistake. 3K in towards middle, slows down that push. Nicely done from Void. Now just going to be holding tight. Should be a free kill for Destiny. Don't know if he knows how close Benji is. Doesn't make a difference. Still hits the shot. And Australia even the scores back out. It's a little bit back and forth. The instability of the game so far is causing for a very puggish style. It is down to mistakes that are being made that can be capitalized on. And look at this buy from Sweden. Deagle P250, 3 AKs, why not, right?
That's the aggressive style we've seen them play with so far this map, so I think it really suits their sort of dynamic they're going for right here. They're trying to take the fight to the Aussies. They're going for a no-respect sort of setup. You know, they think they're the big dogs, they're here to win it, and they're trying to show us that right now as they got the 3 AKs. They're taking late mid control by the look at this setup here. It plays in towards lower dark, and a couple posted up towards top middle. Chances here for Sweden to just get some late round pushes and try and catch these Australian players off guard. They're not really looking for any early round information as the flash is coming towards middle now. Swing in from Burnley, won't catch anyone out as of yet.
Look at the aggression from Destiny towards A main. He might just wrap on the bomb. This could be massive. Destiny, you can't do it to him like this. He's going to gain control of the bomb and he should be able to shut this down. Sweden